Who will lead the way for the nation's best teams in 2017? College football is almost upon us, and with the release of the AP Top 25, we're taking a look at a key player from each of the ranked teams who will have a big say in how things go for their program this season. 1. Alabama Bo Scarborough. If you want to know anything about the running back's importance to the Crimson Tide, all you have to do is look at last season's national championship game. Bama's offense lost a huge dimension in last year's national championship after Scarborough broke his leg. Do they win that game if he stays on the field? Probably. The junior averaged 6.5 yards per carry last season. They need to find a way to keep him healthy in 2017. 2. Ohio State JT Barrett. It feels like Barrett has been around forever, but only now is he entering his senior season in Columbus. He also has something to prove. He's never won a title while under center, as it was Cardale Jones who took the honors in 2015 as an injured Barrett watched on. The Buckeyes have so much talent across the board, but Barrett's play at quarterback will be key to Ohio State's season. 3. Florida State Derwin James. There is an argument to be made that James is the best player in college football. He can do a little bit of everything on the defensive side of the ball. Formerly a safety, James is capable in coverage, can be a factor over the middle of the field, and can even rush the passer effectively. He may even get some time as a return man. 4. USC Sam Darnold. It's no secret that the Trojans will go as far as Darnold's arm and legs can take them. His 36 touchdowns made them a national factor again, and the expectation is that he can take them to the next level and contend for a spot in the college football playoff now. He threw for 3,000 yards last year while showing a great ability to scramble and extend plays. There's an excitement at the sort of gaudy numbers he'll be able to put up starting a full season. 5. Clemson Kelly Bryant. The Tigers have lost so much of their core from the team that won the national championship last season, but Dabo Swinney recruits as well as anyone, so they have a chance to be very good again. Their hopes are reliant on how Bryant, who has spent the last 2 seasons as Deshaun Watson's understudy, performs in the starting role. If he's good, the Tigers can be in the playoff conversation once again. 6. Penn State Saquon Barkley. Barkley is the best running back in the college ranks and an early Heisman favorite, and Penn State's offensive attack will be built around him. The All-American fell just short of 1,500 yards rushing in 2016, and it isn't completely crazy to wonder if Barkley is capable of reaching the 2,000-yard plateau as long as he stays healthy. He'll have to come close to that for the Nittany Lions to match or improve upon last season's 11-3 finish. 7. Oklahoma Baker Mayfield. The other Heisman favorite. Mayfield is already something of a cult hero in Norman, and another big season could really cement his place in that realm, particularly if it involves a playoff appearance. 4,000 passing yards are definitely within reach for the star quarterback. 8. Washington Jake Browning. In a conference that boasts Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen, it was actually Browning who was the Pac-12's Offensive Player of the Year, and that's even with a shoulder injury that hindered him down the stretch. He's not going to get the headlines that his Californian counterparts will, but he's the engine that makes Washington run and could be a dark horse Heisman candidate. 9. Wisconsin Troy Fumagalli. Fumagalli is one of the country's best tight ends, and he may well become the preferred target for quarterback Alex Hornibrook. He already grabbed 3 touchdowns and 580 yards last season, and those numbers may only improve this year. The preseason All-American who does it all despite missing his left index finger will be key to the methodical Badger offense. He's looking for a big senior season. 10. Oklahoma State James Washington. Washington makes the Oklahoma State offense the perpetual big play threat that it is. Entering his senior season, he already has 2,923 career receiving yards to his name, and he's almost a guarantee to get at least another 1,000 in his final year of eligibility. Combining with quarterback Mason Rudolph, Washington gives Oklahoma State one of the most dangerous attacks in the country. 11. Michigan Rashan Gary, the former #1 recruit, didn't have a massive impact in his freshman season, with a modest 23 tackles and half a sack, but that was somewhat to be expected. Gary will get all the reps he could ask for in 2017, and his numbers should shoot up in response. Expect the beastly defensive lineman to establish himself as one of the nation's best at the heart of the Wolverine defense. 12. Auburn Jarrett Stidham. Auburn has had some issues succeeding at the quarterback position ever since Nick Marshall graduated after the 2014 season. Stidham, a Baylor transfer, should address that issue. He threw 12 touchdowns in 2015 and should guide Auburn admirably. They definitely have a chance to make an impact nationally if Stidham plays to his potential. 13. LSU Arden Key. The Tigers will need to find a way to get Key in the field. The pass rusher won't be ready for the opener after undergoing shoulder surgery earlier in the summer. After an 11-sack season last year, though, expectations are high for the team's star pass rusher. If he can get back on the field and be his old self, LSU will have a fearsome defense indeed. 14. Stanford Bryce Love. It's quite the luxury when you're able to replace one of the best running backs in college football almost seamlessly, but that's more or less what the Cardinal will be able to do after Christian McCaffrey's departure. Love was a threat even while backing up McCaffrey, averaging 7.0 yards per carry and scoring 3 touchdowns last season. With a strong offensive line in front of him, Love should prove a capable replacement for McCaffrey. 15. Georgia Nick Chubb. Once upon a time, Chubb was in the picture as one of the nation's best rusher. A gruesome leg injury in 2015 stunted his progress, and upon returning, his junior year wasn't as good as his freshman one. Perhaps it's too much to expect him to get back to a 1,500-yard season, but an improvement would go a long way toward helping an offense that struggled in 2016. 16. Louisville Lamar Jackson. Well, he is the Heisman winner, after all. After collecting over 5,000 Albanian Lex-purpose yards and 51 total touchdowns, Jackson has given himself a tough act to follow. But no matter what, he will be one of the most exciting players in the entire country. He single-handedly makes Louisville a threat to win any game they play. 17. Florida Antonio Callaway. There is no doubt about Callaway's talent, but he's key not just because of that. Florida needs to find a way to keep him in line so he can play. Already suspended for the team's season opener against Michigan, Callaway can be an impact player, averaging 15.7 yards per catch over his career. He needs to stay out of trouble to contribute, though, and he's running out of chances. 18. Miami, FLA. Malik Rosier, the junior quarterback, will be surrounded by a lot of talent, including running back Mark Walton and star receiver Amon Richards. That is what makes Rozier's role so important. Miami could legitimately win the ACC Coastal if they can get decent quarterback play, and the inexperienced junior will be leaned upon. If he performs, Miami could fly. 19. South Florida Quinton Flowers, the best dual-threat quarterback in the country not named Lamar Jackson. Flowers has the ability to lift South Florida to the top of the group of 5 this season. The senior racked up 42 total touchdowns in 2016, and he is poised to build on those numbers, with the Bulls being eyed for big things. 20. Kansas State Jesse Ertz, another dual-threat quarterback. Ertz was a 1,000-yard rusher in 2016 to go along with 1,755 yards through the air. He didn't score enough. 21 total touchdowns is a bit underwhelming for someone with his physical tools, but if he can polish the passing side of his game, he could really open some eyes nationally. 21. Virginia Tech Tremaine Edmonds, an outstanding defensive playmaker, Edmonds was blowing up plays left and right in 2016. After a season where he tallied up 94 total tackles, 16.5 of them for a loss, and 4.5 sacks, the junior linebacker looks ready to post another stat-stuffing season. He's the leader of Virginia Tech's defense. 22. West Virginia Will Grier, the coveted Florida transfer, will quarterback West Virginia this season, and he should do a fine job of it. As a freshman with the Gators in 2015, he played in only 6 games before being suspended, but still threw for 1,202 yards and 10 touchdowns. Now in charge of the Mountaineers' offense, he could lead them to a very good season. 23. Texas Malik Jefferson, Charlie Strong's most prized recruit, hasn't exactly lived up to expectations since his arrival in Austin, but the junior linebacker could be ready for liftoff after a season that saw him collect 6.5 sacks. When playing up to his potential, Jefferson is the most talented player on the Longhorn defense, and the premier defensive playmaker. 24. Washington State Luke Falk. The Pac-12 is loaded with quality quarterbacks, and Falk certainly belongs on the list. The senior has thrown for 38 touchdowns and about 4,500 yards in each of his 2 full seasons as Cougar starter. He can do everything that the famously pass-minded Mike Leach would possibly ask of him. 25. Tennessee Darren Kirkland. It speaks to Kirkland's talent that he was starting at middle linebacker for the Vols as a freshman. His sophomore season was shortened by injury, and the defense as a whole suffered for it. Kirkland should be back to full strength for the season, and he'll be looking to build on the exploits that had him looked at as the anchor of Tennessee's defense.